Hey hi. So in the last video we calculated the force of the object जो वो पानी को दे रहा है. So this is our object 1 and this is our object 2 and we know कि boss this is the force जो object 1 पानी को दे रहा है. अब जाहिर सी बात है कि पानी जो है वो equal and opposite force दे रहा है object को. ठीक है, so as we calculated for object 1 कि the force that the object 1 is putting is equal to the specific weight multiplied by the volume. Exactly similarly पानी का जो force है is also equal to the specific weight of water into the amount of volume which has been displaced. बोलने का मतलब है जितना डिस्प्लेस हुआ है वाटर बिकॉज ऑफ दिस ऑब्जेक्ट दैट वॉल्यूम. ठीक है, वो कितना है हमको नहीं पता, बट वी नो कि बॉस व्हाट इज द फोर्स जो पानी ऑब्जेक्ट को दे रहा है. सो लेट्स डिस्कस अबाउट दिस फर्स्ट ऑब्जेक्ट, दिस फर्स्ट कंटेनर. नाउ व्हाट इज द फोर्स जो पानी ऑब्जेक्ट को दे रहा है? इट हैज टू बी equal. So that is 4905 newtons. So the force जो पानी object को दे रहा है is equal and opposite. So it is 4905 newtons. Now, what is the specific weight of the water? Now that is 9810 newtons per meter cube. Now, what is the volume of the water which has been displaced by object 1? नहीं मालूम मेरे को. I don't know. So let's write volume of water. Now from this we can calculate कि boss कितना पानी का volume displace हुआ है. So VW is equal to 4905 divided by 9810. So let's calculate. So it's 4905 divided by 9810. So it's 0.5 meter cube. Okay, and let's talk about the second object. Similarly, second object is, second object का जो weight है that is 6867 newtons. So this is object number 1 and then we go to object number 2. So the force that the water is putting on object number 2 is nothing but the specific weight of water multiplied by the volume which has been displaced by the second object. So again we know that the force that the water is putting is equal to the force of the object. So this is 6867 newtons. So this is this value has to be the specific weight of water, which is again 9810 multiplied by the volume of water. इसमें से अपने को the volume of water displaced पता चलेगा, which is 6867 divided by 9810, which is 6867 divided by 9810. So it's 0.7 meter cube. Okay, alright, so now what it means is if this object has displaced 0.7 meter cube of water and this object has displaced 0.5 meter cube of water, उसका मतलब है वो उतना पानी के अंदर है, जितना वो पानी के अंदर है उतना ही वो डिस्प्लेस कर पाएगा, isn't it? So if this guy, this is object 1, so if this guy has displaced, object 1 has displaced 0.5 meter cube of water, then वो उतना पानी के अंदर है. अब अगर अपने को कोई पूछता है कि बॉस आई वांट टू नो कि व्हाट इज द हाइट what is this height of the object जो पानी के अंदर है, and what is this height जो पानी के अंदर है. Now since we know कि बॉस इसने कितना पानी डिस्प्लेस किया है, इसने 0.5 मीटर क्यूब पानी डिस्प्लेस किया है और इसने 0.7 मीटर क्यूब पानी डिस्प्लेस किया है. दैट मीन्स कि the amount of volume of this object inside the water is 0.5 meter cubes. Now since we know, अभी अपने को इसका डायमेंशन भी पता है कि this is the length, this is the breadth and this is the height. ठीक है. अब लेंथ और ब्रेथ जाहिर सी बात है, इट इज इनसाइड द वाटर, बट पूरा हाइट पानी के अंदर नहीं है. दैट्स व्हाट वी वांट टू कैलकुलेट. सो सिंस वी नो कि बॉस इसने 0.5 मीटर क्यूब ऑब्जेक्ट 1 ने 0.5 मीटर क्यूब पानी डिस्प्लेस किया है, so that is the volume which is inside the water. So that you can imagine कि अगर it's 0.5 meter cube inside the water, so that 0.5 which is inside the water will be उसका length into breadth into height. अब height अपने को पता नहीं है, लेंथ और ब्रेथ तो पक्का पानी के अंदर है. सो लेंथ इज 1 एंड ब्रेथ इज 1 इनटू हाइट. अपने को हाइट नहीं मालूम कितना है, सो इसमें से विल गेट द हाइट ऑफ this object which is inside the water. So it is equal to 0.5 divided by 1 into 1. So it's 0.5 meters. So this height which is inside the water is 0.5 meters. Okay, so alright, so now similarly let's calculate key what's the height of the object which is inside the water, object 2. So अपने को मालूम है कि the amount of volume जो ऑब्जेक्ट ने डिस्प्लेस किया है is this 0.7 meter cube. So naturally उतना ही वॉल्यूम उसका पानी के अंदर है. So again we know कि बॉस उसका dimension is 0.5, this is length, this is breadth and this is height. Okay, so we know कि length और breadth तो पक्का पानी के अंदर है, करके वो float हो रहा है, डूबे ले वो, but we don't know कि उसका height कितना पानी के अंदर है. So we can calculate, we know कि उसने कितना पानी displace किया, and that is 0.7 meter cubes. So that 0.7 meter cube should be, now this 0.7 meter cube should be its length which is 0.5 into its breadth which is 1 into its height जो अपने को नहीं मालूम है कितना अंदर है. So from this we can calculate what's the height of the object inside the water. So h is equal to 0.7 divided by 0.5 into 1. Now this is equal to 0.7 divided by 0.5, which is 1.4 meters. So this is 1.4 meters. That means that it is 1.4 meter inside the water. Alright, so this is how you calculate the buoyancy, the weight which is acting inside the water and the weight or force that water is putting back to the object. Alright, now the question is कि बॉस ठीक है, पानी फोर्स डाल रहा है, ऑब्जेक्ट फोर्स डाल रहा है, बट द क्वेश्चन इज कहाँ डाल रहा है. राइट, नाउ जितना भी तुम्हारा ऑब्जेक्ट पानी के अंदर डूबा हुआ है, उसका सेंटर जो होगा is called as the center of buoyancy. That means कि बॉस अब ये 0.5 है, ठीक है. So let's say this is the center of gravity of this object which is inside the water, not the object but the object which is inside the water. So this is the point which is B. That means this is the center of gravity of the object which is inside the water, and naturally it will be 0.5 ka adha, so it's 0.25 from the base. So this is the point which is the application of the buoyant force. This is B. And what would be the center of this object? It would be this height, which is 0.7, uska center. So it would be somewhere here, and that would be, I mean, this, which would be 0.35 meters. Alright, so this point is called as the buoyant point, जहाँ पे पानी force डालेगा, and it will be the center of gravity of the object which is inside the water. I hope you got it. So see you in the next video. Bye bye.